interrupted my kung fu.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Plaid Stallion's Toy Ventures. And this week is about something that I have wanted since I was 3 years old, the Kung Fu Studio from the Mattel Big Jim series. Not only is this a wonderful creative toy from 1974, but it also showcases a major shift in pop culture, and I'm going to explain that before we get into the toy. Martial arts, particularly judo and karate, had come to the pop culture radar mainly thanks to the spy craze of the 1960s and television shows like The Green Hornet. It didn't hurt that Hornet star Bruce Lee was also a martial arts teacher to Hollywood A-listers like Steve McQueen and James Coburn. This, of course, would not go unnoticed with children such as me, who were drawn to the ballyhoo and mystery that seemed to go with this deadly art. Of course, comic book ads like this at the time didn't help. Who didn't want to send away for this stuff? And of course, we haven't even touched upon the amazing Count Dante. So in the early 1970s, a white karate or judo gi was somewhat of a standard accessory for a boy's toy line. G.I. Joe had the karate set, as did Migos Action Jackson. Big Jim's set was dubbed Karate Kendo, and it usually came with a shinai stick. Heck, even Bobby Orr was going to the dojo. Most of these sets would include the breaking board trope made famous in public demonstrations, and as I mentioned, Jim's set came with a shinai stick for the whole kendo angle. However, the early 1970s would see a significant shift in martial arts awareness. Things would move away from the Japanese influences of judo and karate to China and the rise of kung fu. The first significant catalyst would be the debut in 1972 of the weekly Kung Fu television series. Creator Ed Spielman spent 5 years trying to sell this show, and he was a student of Kung Fu. He infused it not only with martial arts action, but with philosophy as well. The following year, the movie King Boxer would be released in the United States as Five Fingers of Death and become a box office smash, only to be topped by Enter the Dragon later that year, which would make Bruce Lee the biggest action star in the world, albeit posthumously. His poster would be in bedrooms around the globe. That was it. The craze was born, and everybody was a kung fu fighting. Pop culture would never quite be the same. Just to give you an example, my first lunchbox at 4 years old was Hong Kong Phooey. After that, strip mall dojos and schools started popping up, as did martial arts magazines and comic book characters. Mattel was slightly ahead of this curve because in 1973 they released Dr. Steel, a bald master of the martial arts with a familiar-looking dragon tattoo and a steel hand. Originally sold as somewhat of a quasi-nemesis for Jim, Dr. Steel was a big hit for Mattel, and he'd remain in the line for years. You can check out my Dr. Steel video right here. The words Kung Fu also can't be trademarked, and Mattel decided to embrace Kung Fu Mania in an even bigger way for 1974, not only with the playset we're going to talk about, but the special action figure as well. The Big Jim Kung Fu figure was a deluxe set that came in a striking yellow robe with a dragon emblem. The new gimmick was the muscle mover, which allowed you to simulate martial arts moves for Jim. Other accessories in the set included things for Jim to break, like a brick, a stool, and a bamboo stick. However, the pièce de résistance for this year was the playset in the form of the Kung Fu Studio. Now, at that time, most Big Jim playsets were actually sourced from tooling made for Jim's bigger sister, Barbie. Barbie's friendship became the Big Jim Sky Commander. Barbie's country camper became Big Jim's camper and his rescue rig. And the Kung Fu Studio started out as Barbie's country home. But boy, did they make this former dollhouse into a manly place. Every wall is covered with weapons and martial arts paraphernalia. This sturdy set was not sold in a box so much as a cardboard sleeve, and it used its own handle so you could carry it around. It's pretty environmentally friendly if you think about it now. The outsides of the set are adorned in an Asian influence, with shots looking inside the window, plenty of action going on there. And it is called Big Jim's Kung Fu Studio, training in karate, judo, kung fu, and kendo again. As a kid, I saw kendo on Space 1999, and I became obsessed with it, but sadly, I never was able to find a class. I've taken classes and everything else, but kendo's the one that got away. I would love to get a kendo outfit for an action figure. The set unfolds into an impressive 3 feet. Really is quite a bit of real estate taking this up. That's why I took it outside and took these shots. I love the floor mat there, and there's some really wonderful touches when you first look at it. Especially love the mirror in the playset where you would check your form. I think that's really amazing that they added that little detail. Somebody, whoever designed this, definitely had been to a karate class or two. This looks like a bunch of dojos I've been in, and it's very well done. I love all its little touches. The Big Jim Kung Fu Studio comes with a bunch of accessories, including the Shinai stick, a karate board and stand, the muscle mover, which we'll get into, a chin-up bar, a dumbbell, a press bench with a barbell, a punching and kicking ball in the main studio part, and probably my favorite feature of this set is the kick-out wall. Nothing says martial arts action like kicking a guy through the brick wall of your Kung Fu studio. The muscle mover itself can be positioned to have Jim kick or punch or do a karate chop. As you can see here, I'm having a bit of trouble with it. I don't know if it's the fact that it's almost 50 years old, or if I just can't operate a toy that was made for a ages 4 and up child. I'm not sure which one it is, but I am having a little bit of difficulty here. Just a very quick plug that issue 7 of our magazine, Toy Ventures, based on this show, is now available for pre-order, and we are offering subscriptions for the next 3 issues of Toy Ventures magazine if you're tired of ordering issues at a time. Subscribing to our magazine will guarantee that you get the pre-order premium bonus cereal prize every time. Details are below. Thank you for watching. Now, the Kung Fu Studio only ran for 2 years. This is mainly because in 1975, Mattel started to phase out the All-Stars brand and overhaul Big Jim from a sportsman to a spy and crime fighter with the pack. This was done mainly because sales were really starting to dip on the Olympic line, introduced in 1974 as well, didn't do all that well for Mattel. And there was an oversaturation of, older items sitting on the shelves. This is very similar to what happened with the Masters of the Universe brand, where they just sort of oversaturated the market and discontinued a lot of items, which would end up on clearance in the following year. And by 1976, Big Jim was all about the pack, at least in the United States and Canada. So it's a very short-lived run for this set, even though it probably did sell very well. It is much harder to find a boxed Kung Fu Studio than a Camper or Sky Commander because they had longer production runs. To my knowledge, the Kung Fu Studio was only sold in the United States and Canada. I was very fortunate to find a Canadian box for this. I was not expecting to, but I lucked out on what is basically our version of Craigslist. It's called Kijiji. During the course of making this show, and in collecting in general, I've often united myself with toys I wanted as a kid but didn't get. And there's a 50-50 ratio there where sometimes you look at it and you go, yeah, this isn't really a good toy, or, I would have been bored with this in 10 minutes. This is not the case with the Kung Fu Studio. I really wish I had gotten this as a kid because there's hours of play here. And I could see myself using this for adventures with the Mego superheroes and Planet of the Apes. It would have been a really cool toy to have. And that's nice. It's actually really great to pick up a vintage toy and realize this is a lot of fun. The hype was real. So that has been my look at the Big Jim Kung Fu Studio by Mattel. Did you have this as a kid? Did you want this as a kid? Were you Kung Fu crazy like me as a kid? I'd love to know. You can let me know in the comments here below or in our Facebook group, Pod Stallions. That is it for me this week. If you are new to this channel, please consider hitting like and subscribe. This is the kind of stuff we make every week. Until next time, folks, be well and talk toys, not others. Cheers.
Ah!